Bank is open. Pickett Sports, Boom Fantasy. We're back. All right. Little technical issues. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. Let's just get to the games. There's only 4 of them, so we'll just bang these out here. Hopefully give you some winners.
Yeah.
Raptors laying 2 in Washington against the Wizards. Brian, start us off here. Raptors laying 2. Anything you like in terms of side total or props?
So this is a game where I actually do have a prop. If you want to put it up, because it kind of goes with my what I think is going to happen in this game. Is I did actually take Bradley Beal's under in points of 23.5. And what did you have?
I'm on his over assists.
So that's so funny
correlated.
because I think it's very correlated. Where I do like his assists a lot, and I do think it's one of those things where I actually got his under 23.5 points at plus 105. So it's one of those things too where at plus money, that's just one of those spots where he gets a lengthy team here with the Raptors. I think he's going to see a lot of Anunoby on the switches and a lot of Van Fleet in terms of the PNR. And this team, I think they have a good shot against the Raptors, but if they're going to beat the Raptors, it's going to be through that PNR and those looks for Kuzma and Kristaps Porzingis, who is now healthy. So I did take his under. He's actually shoots a little bit. His volume at home for Bradley Beal does drop a little bit, and he does go under this line a little over half his time. He's under this in 12 of his last 17 games, but the games he went over against were Portland, Indiana, Golden State, Minnesota, a lot of not great defensive teams. And against a team like this, I just think he's going to struggle. And if he does struggle, I think they can still win this game or at least cover the 2.5 based off I think Kuzma and KP should have good matchups down low.
Everything you said, he had 7 assists against the Hawks and he still took 30 field goal attempts. Obviously with KP being back in, you would think he's going to, at minimum, take 16, 17 shots tonight. So nice chunk of that's coming out of Beal's volume. No Morris in the lineup again. That's another reason to go to it. It's cashed in 3 straight games. It's still plus money in some spots. So, yeah, I like Beal to go over his assists. And honestly, if you want to get real frisky with it, you could play his double-double because I do think he's got a legitimate chance in this game. It just depends. If he's facilitating early, which he didn't necessarily do in all of those games, he could really rack up the ops.
I like that.
I don't have anything really to add on this game. Look, this is Raptors. I feel like there's a million of these teams in the East where it's just like, they're sort of on the fringe of the plane. I don't really want to watch them. I don't really want to bet on these.
What do you think, Will? Who's going to hit 3 threes? Is it going to be Trent or is it going to be OG from the Raptors? One of these guys is hitting. The Hawks wings like Bojan and Bay and stuff. They both hit 4, I think, in the last game.
I'll go.
So somebody's going to pop off.
I'll go OG, but I'm a little scarred with the 3-point prop market. I've been blindly betting Mikal Bridges over 1.5. I was like, I don't get why it's so low. He always gets the volume. He always gets the makes.
Wasn't it going well for a while? It was going well for a while, though. I thought
it was going well for a while till last night. He hit one like 2 minutes into the game. I was like, all right, just need one more. I'm in good shape. He's shooting like 6 or 7 a game since he joined the Nets. He's shooting them well too. And he only shot 1 the rest of the game. Wasn't hurt or anything. Just didn't shoot him. Cam Johnson shot a bunch of them. Eventually, it was a blowout. He was in there for a while. He scored a bunch of points. He just never shot a 3. It was very strange. Yeah. Still kind of pissed off about it. But,
I think the 3-point market, if you need like a guy to hit 2 or 3 and they hit one right away, you just chalk it. Like I think every time they hit it right away, and you're like, yes, just one more. It never seems to go well.
Yeah, Bridges. It was like it's too good to be true. It hits every time. He's getting the volume. He's getting the makes, and then just that was a tough one, but. I'm with you guys on this game. We can move on because this game is fascinating to me. I don't know what I'm missing here. You guys can tell me. Mavericks are laying 4 against Philly. The Mavericks are just dreadful defensively. Ever since Kyrie and Luka joined forces, if they're playing together, I'm betting the over. Matt, you gave it out the other night. I was with you. Over against Indiana, went way over. This Dallas team is horrible defensively. They're not as good offensively as we thought to make up for the bad defense. So I'm going to just take the over here. I would lean towards the 4. Brian, this is your squad, the Sixers. So tell us what's up with this line.
So it's actually funny you brought up my squad because if I wasn't a Sixers fan, I would hop on the 4 or the 4.5 earlier, I think it was. But if I wasn't a Sixers fan, I would have jumped on it so fast because I'm with you. I don't think it makes any sense. I just have that bitter fandom inside of me that tells me I can't ever trust this team. But yeah, Joel Embiid sat out yesterday, and in a back-to-back, if he's a guy sitting out the first leg, I don't want to say I'd bet on it, but I would probably bet a substantial amount of money that he's going to play this game. He has not been resting as much this year. in terms of, if he is good to go, I think he will go. He does see the importance of it. And if he goes, I mean, we talked about before the stream, I don't see how they don't cover 4 and how he doesn't score, let's say 40 points. Because as you mentioned, this team plays faster with Kyrie in there, and their defense, their rating and defense has just dropped substantially. They can't stop anything. I'm pretty sure I could get a bucket on them if I tried for a quarter, but it's very interesting to watch. Where I think the Pacers, when I checked the halftime, they were shooting, I think 63% or something like that. Obviously, that's gonna come down a little bit, but yeah. If you give Embiid any kind of space and any kind of room against a weak defensive team, I usually will lean against the Sixers to cover.
Yeah, if we're talking about catching the 4, obviously it'll go down, and once Embiid is in, I think you'll see late movement towards the Sixers. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing closes like 1.5, 2. I think he plays, and I think I'm going to be on his over points when he does get in. Brian and I were kind of both in agreement on that. The Mavs, they're just so soft down low. Dwight Powell, Christian Wood, whoever they want to try to throw at him. I think the German guy, his name's escaping me right now.
Dirk Nowitzki.
Kleba,
okay.
No, other German guy on.
Yeah,
on
other German guy.
I know his hamstring is almost healed, and he's been shooting around and stuff. And I don't know if he's ready to play yet. But no matter who they throw, they just don't have enough presence in the paint to kind of keep Embiid off things. And like with Maxey going crazy, Harden probably looking for a nice facilitating role. I think I would play it probably as high as 33 are we thinking? Where's the point of resistance?
I think for Embiid and a lot of guys, it's almost like I don't want to have tinfoil hat, but I feel like sometimes key numbers like 35, like 34.5 even feels like, all right, he needs 35. Because how often have you seen like some people, like you play a guy up to like 25 and score 24? So I think 33 is a spot where I would want it there or lower.
Yeah, I like it. And I mean, we could look at it. We saw it last night. We get 2 guys in Mitchell and Tatum who are kind of top dogs going tit for tat, both really chasing that 40-point mark. You hit a 3, I'm going to hit a 3. I think we could kind of see Luka and Embiid do this a little bit. These are the games that Embiid has said he gets up for against the other MVP candidates. So you just know he's going to want to outscore Luka in this. So I would be leaning, maybe even put a parlay together just for some fun, like a 35-35, a 40-40, once Embiid does get ruled in, because I really do think we could see some fun here.
The only thing keeping me off Philly here, Dallas sort of starts to need these games. They're 32-31 now. It's hard to say. I mean, you could say, hey, they're a game out of 5th, or 2 games out of 4th. The Lakers have 33 losses. The Blazers have 33 losses. Those teams are sitting there 11th and 12th place out of the play-in altogether. The Mavs are the 7. They're still in the play-in, but you lose a couple more of these games, you're going to sit there and be in the play-in, the back end of a play-in. They're a play-in team right now, so there's a little bit of a sense of urgency for Dallas. I think if they can't guard anybody, but if you're going to get their best effort, their best punch, this is a game they got to start winning some games. So that would keep me off it, I think. Just in terms.
So I'll say this though is I agree with everything you just said, because they are back to the wall. I think it's one of those things though where if we were talking to pick them, that's one thing, but they're giving them 4. That's a lot of points. If it was a pick 'em, I don't think I would touch it with the 10-foot pole. But giving them 4 is kind of an interesting look. But I do agree with that, because the Sixers are in that weird bubble. I mean, they're not super worried about the Knicks behind them as in the division, but they're also not going to pass Boston anytime soon, most likely. So they're in that weird kind of bubble where they're 3 games ahead of the 4 seed and 4 games back from a 2 seed. So they might they're not locked in yet. There's so many games to play, but I guess down the stretch, that is something to consider.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, somebody on the Mavs, if they're going to cover this number, one of the others is going to have to pop off from 3. whether it be Hardaway, Green, Bullock, somebody's going to have a 4, make 4 threes in the game.
Right.
Something like that's going to happen because
Ryan props in the chat too. Not to cut you off, he just said what's up.
what's he saying? Hey, what's
he
up?
Just said what's up.
Right?
He just gave out a play saying max ladder on PJ Tucker's threes. That's take him up to max's ladder up at 2. 2, 3.
Yeah, I worry he'll be in foul trouble. He's going to be guarding Luka, right?
No, we're just I can't stand PJ Tucker.
Just trolling.
Yeah. Ryan just wants to say hi.
What's up, right guy?
He can't be on the stream today because he hates us, but he can definitely chirp at us. That seems to be what we got going on here.
I've got time to troll, just not time to participate.
So that'll be one to keep an eye on. I like the over, and I'm with you guys. I'll play some Embiid once he's ruled in. We're pretty sure he's going to play.
I would be very surprised. Actually, I was actually talking to Ryan about that too. I think earlier. I'm pretty sure I was. I'd be surprised if he doesn't play. This should definitely be a game he's in.
All right. Pacers are laying 6 in San Antonio. My goodness. The Spurs actually get off the schneid the other night. Had lost 16, 17 in a row. Come from behind and beat the Jazz on the road. Boy, should Indiana be laying 6 on the road to anybody? I don't know. Do I want a piece of the Spurs? I don't really know about that either. Matt, you can start us off here. Pacers and Spurs. Which way you go?
I would go ahead and lay it. I think the Spurs are in full-on tank mode. They're not even letting their starters play 30 minutes. It's looking at how these teams stack up. I know Halliburton is questionable. I do expect him to play. I think a good look. Miles Turner's in fantastic form. He's a Texas kid. He's down there. He's tearing up the Texas trip here. I think he could go for another big game. I don't think he could get another 35, but his points is I think it's 20 right now. I like him to clip that. And as long as Halliburton's in, a double-double is pretty much given here. So I don't know. If he's ruled out, then I guess you kind of could pivot to Nembhard assists or something like that. Somebody's going to have, or McConnell, I guess would get a lot of those Halliburton minutes. Somebody's going to put up a ton of assists because the Spurs, just if you roll the ball out, you're putting up 120 on the Spurs. So and you got the Pacers who want to score 140. So
over game maybe.
What's that? Over? Yeah.
Over?
Or team total Pacers.
Right.
If you're worried about the Spurs, because really they're. How much is? Well, Brian, you may talk a little bit on the Spurs side, so I don't want to take all the points, but they're very clearly not playing a full rotation for their starters. They're not getting full minutes and stuff. So, Keldon Johnson, I would be surprised to see him get 30 minutes tonight. Vassell saying, it's going to be Branham and guys like that trying to put up points. So I think I would just isolate it and maybe go more on the Pacers side of things.
Yeah, I do think the team side might be better because Keldon Johnson's questionable as well tonight. So if he doesn't play, it's a matter of, do you really want to trust the Spurs to do anything? The only person on the Spurs actually getting minutes is Keldon Johnson, which is pissing me off because I bet is under every single game, and he played an unrealistic 30. Oh, he was ruled out. So Keldon Johnson is ruled out. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I feel -6 if he was ruled out. I didn't see that. I saw he was just doubtful. But if he's ruled out, yeah, -6 feels a little adventurous for the Pacers. If there's no Keldon Johnson, who's gonna score for the Pacers? For the Spurs. That's actually. I saw he was doubtful, but in this league, I didn't realize. I never trust that. But yeah, I do like that. Yeah, actually, I didn't. That's my fault for not doing my research. I hadn't mentioned for doubtful. But yeah, without Keldon Johnson, I would probably just take either the team total. It's 21.5. I'm seeing on some books. It was 10 minutes ago. Okay, thank God. I thought I didn't do my prep for the show beforehand. But yeah, so no Keldon Johnson. Yeah, I would definitely go over for the Pacers. That would be my look because I wouldn't trust the Spurs to score as much without some of their guys in there.
Yeah. The streets are talking about a Dougie Buckets revenge game. Any chance he pops off 5 threes?
That guy could always pop off. He's one of those guys. He gets. It's weird to say when his minutes go up. dude, he can play. Like it's like
Oh, yeah.
it's fun to watch. I was watching him play the other day, and he was I mean, it was a Mavs defense, so it was really like playing at the YMCA, but still, he looked good out there.
Yeah, I mean, Pop knows what he's doing. He's just kind of coasting. He's got this thing in first gear. He's just going to see it into the end of the season, and hopefully they get lucky in the lottery.
Yeah, I mean, with these tanking teams, I don't know. I mean, as good as Wembanyama is, haven't they flattened the odds quite a bit between 1, 2, 3, and 4? I believe they have, where you're like around 14%, whether you're the first or the fourth. I'm not sure. I don't have it in front of me, but it's not as significant. They've really sort of flattened the odds to where it's not as advantageous to get the first pick. But again, if you're the Spurs, what's the point of going near a win, even though they got one the other night? Just get as many balls as possible and, increase your chances to get a guaranteed top 4 or 5 pick, even if you can't land the 1, because supposedly it's a really good draft. So yeah, Pacers team total. Do you guys have anything in front of you for team total? I could look it up.
It was 121 before the stream, so I'm not sure if it's changed, but 121 was what I saw beforehand.
Let's see here, team props. Yeah, 121.5 at DraftKings minus $1.20.
That's not bad. Yeah, I would go over on that.
Over 62.5 first half, something like that. I might play a little on both. So
Pacers are, I don't know. First half is weird because the Pacers can look like total shit in the first half, and then all of a sudden they have a 40-point quarter, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? So
right.
the one thing I will say is, if you're watching this game and they do start off slow, I would totally take it live, because they'll get going eventually.
Yeah, you always have to worry. I mean, it's a balance between, all right, fourth quarter, if the game's close, maybe you get a little tighter defense and the game slows down, but also you get the fouls at the end of the fourth quarter and the possibility of overtime. So maybe just, I don't know, balance your bet, do a little half on each, or just go the full game over for the team total. But I can certainly endorse the Pacers team total over 121.5. An interesting game, and I think this is the final one of the night. The Clippers, 0-3 since getting Westbrook, 2 games over 500. Just can't seem to, put a few good weeks together. And really, this has been the story for years now. Laying 4 in Golden State. Golden State's had a couple nice wins. Sounds like they're getting Curry back in the near future. Not a play for me. Brian, do you have anything here, Clippers, Warriors?
Honestly, there's no play that I can touch, because Warriors at home are so interesting and so fun to back, especially because guys like Clay usually thrive at home and this and that. But yeah, if there was no determination factor from the Clippers when they're not in absolute like desperation mode, I would still look at the 3.5 for the Warriors. But when you mention that context of just dropping 3 or 4 straight, needing a win in this tough conference, that I mean, they might actually have to play starters more than 16 minutes tonight. So it might be a tough one for me to back either side here.
For me, side and stuff is weird. I would take the points, I guess, with Golden State at home. I think the Clippers, even if they kind of put like a dominant performance out, I think Ty Lue is just not gonna be like, hey, we're gonna close this team out. Like if they're up with 15 with 4 minutes left, he may empty the bench, you know what I mean? And Golden State somehow gets a backdoor on you or something like that. So I would be inclined to take the points of Golden State, but I love Kawhi's points tonight. They do not have anybody that can stop him.
Played well too. He's played really well.
Yeah, he's you only need 25 points from him tonight. Easy for me. I'm about to give that out. That was going to be one of my official plays in the channel, but yeah, I without Wiggins out there, and even with Wiggins, I wouldn't be worried about it. Like he's their best perimeter defender, and the only one with the kind of size and length that could kind of give him trouble. Draymond is just too slow. And I think he's strong enough to keep Kawhi maybe in front of him, but I think Draymond, they're going to need him down low, banging a little bit with Zu Alcindor or Mayo Plumlee. So I guess Looney might be down there banging either way, but I just, to me, that I love that prop. It's my favorite one of the whole game. But I do think this is a fun one for turnovers. If you like to bet turnovers, if you got that, Poole will turn the ball over a lot tonight. That's for sure. Some books don't have it, so you kind of have to shop around. It's a very niche market, but He's loose with the ball. Golden State's always loose with the ball. Clippers are extremely long and active. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Kawhi get 2 or 3 steals tonight. George probably could get him a couple. That's a nice look. If you have turnovers, I would say Jordan pull over.
What about a Westbrook prop? Do you think at some point they succumb to the pressure of like, all right, he's playing too much, we got to calm him, kind of tone it down with him, and
I know gambling Twitter would hate that. Gambling Twitter is all over Russ not playing, but I think it's funny. I actually kind of agree with you. I was looking at his his points is like 15.5, 16.5 at open. Because I don't trust fading Russ in terms of RAs at times, because if he wants to, he really can like rack that up. But like his points are so strange where, we mentioned guys, even guys like Kawhi, I mentioned Bradley Beal earlier. Some guys, the biggest thing with them scoring is whether or not they want to. And like Westbrook is one of those guys where he might just look to facilitate. So I actually was looking at that. The only thing that scares you is just the fact that the Warriors hate defense. They used to be, especially the shorthanded Warriors. I mean, they just have been struggling against certain teams.
Yeah, if they stagger his minutes where he can play with the second unit more, he may get some favorable matchups. They don't really have a lot of depth in terms of perimeter defense, especially. So I could see Westbrook getting some, and if Looney's off the floor, they'll have no rim protection at all. So I think he could drive the basket and get a few layups. If you want to play anything, I would play his points tonight. Although I just don't bet Westbrook props as a principle, just because I think one, they're overinflated. People want to bet on him, so you're not, unless you're taking unders, you're getting an inflated number. And two, he's not been a part of any closing lineup for the last like 3 or 4 years. Like, since so coaches just they have no use for him on the floor at the end of the game when he can't shoot. He's not reliable to shoot a 3, and he's not going to play defense. So you may be sitting there like, yes, look at this halftime line, Russ is going to kill it, he's going to get, and then all of a sudden he gets like 5 minutes in the second half.
So Willie, if you're looking for an under there, would you be looking for like the points line or like a PRA at 28.5?
I was just throwing it out there. I never trust, like you said, I never trust him with an under PRA because he's just so like, the
if he wants to be
high.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, that's where, like, not to like bring it back from earlier from the show, but like I'm on Beal's under tonight, and I just know if he comes out there and he shoots like 6 shots right away, I can go to bed early and just be like, all right, this is his mentality today. That's how it's kind of like with Westbrook. Like if he comes out firing early, you're kind of like, ah, shit, this is a problem. But sometimes he just is totally okay facilitating, doing his role in other areas and scoring, say, like 5-6 points some nights if he has to.
I mean, that's the thing with the people that defend Westbrook, which I completely just don't understand. I didn't question your knowledge of basketball if you're defending Westbrook, but the people that defend him be like, oh, he had this many points, this many rebounds, this many assists. It's like, yeah, but there's also other stuff like where he missed this many layups, and this many turnovers, he didn't guard this many people. So he'll put up his counting stats. It's just the other stuff where he absolutely kills your team. I'm shocked how much they're playing him. Clippers are actually playing pretty well before they got him. To me, I don't get it. They're playing a lot of Marcus Morris too, which look, you could have Marcus Morris.
He's cold right now, but he is a really strong defensive player, and like career wise, he's very reliable to hit that corner 3. I think they trust him. Ty Lue just trusts him, and he is going through a cold streak right now. But I think Norman Powell would be I think Lou he would rather play man or Powell.
Ahead man's a much
right. And so Morris is I think got his spot because he's big enough to guard the 4 as well if he has to. So he's versatile. He can guard a 3. He's athletic enough to do that, but he's big enough to handle most 4s. So it's a weird one, but the Russ stuff, like, as just because we don't have a lot of games we could talk about it just in general. Like, I think he's people love that dog that he brought it every single night, didn't take nights off. And he was really fun in OKC, but like since then, it hasn't really translated to wins. And like you said, there's so many other elements other than the box score of like, what did he do for a game? And, yeah, I mean, and right now I'm hearing a lot of, criticism of Jokic, like, oh, okay, Jokic is stat padding. And we all know he is kind of stat padding right now, but like it's translating to wins. Like his triple double, they're undefeated, like in those triple doubles. His efficiency is like crazy. He's like 15 points more efficient than Westbrook was in his triple doubles and stuff. So it's I don't think they're very comparable. And like rebounds for a point guard are not the same as assists for a center.
Right.
Like those two things are not the same. So I don't know. It's a fun one because it does elicit a lot of passionate responses out of people, because I'm a fan of Westbrook, but I just understand from a coaching and basketball side why he no longer is that kind of guy anymore.
Oh, sorry. I was
gonna say he's probably my least favorite athlete of all time in any sport. I can't stand him. But go ahead, Brian.
So I was gonna say, to kind of bridge the Westbrook fan to the Willie hatred here. I was gonna say like I think this is almost directly to you, Willie, but Will. So I think one of those things too is that Westbrook was so fun to watch, because I've never been a huge Westbrook guy overall, but he's been so fun to watch. He was so good with like his excitement when he was OKC at all these other teams. But some guys like Steph Curry's gonna play forever. James Harden was like super fun to watch in Houston, and then he kind of went to the Sixers, and now like at this point in his career, he's different. He's not the guy playing ISO. He's playing a lot more PNR, playing with the team. Westbrook just like never really made that bridge. Right. That's kind of my thing with him, is that he got up there in age where he was such a like athletics like super freak, but he never really adjusted his game to be able to like give the team what they need. Yeah, like, what I mean? Like he never really said like even Chris Paul yesterday. Chris Paul scored 2 points. Like I'm not even a big Chris Paul guy, but he's on this team where Chris Paul's like, you know what? I'm a PNR guy. I'm a facilitator. This is my game. I don't think Westbrook ever has taken that role of being like, you know what? I'm a bench player. I can give minutes by playing hard defense, doing this, running pace. But I just think he's never it's never bridged over to this point in his career.
He still thinks he's an entree. He hasn't learned how to be a side order. He still thinks he still thinks he's the steak. He's not the corner of the rice. Like if he could just be the corner of the rice and do certain things, he could be okay.
Which is crazy, because Paul George even said he was in the steak.
Right.
Like even Paul George, who's been, had a great career. Even Paul George came out last week and said he can't be the best player on a winning team. So
which we all know. And Davis's comments, Anthony Davis, his comments were deafening with what he did say when he left. I don't know if you guys saw that quote.
Yeah,
a week or so ago. I was like, yeah, well, he's a good guy. The on the court stuff, well, that's different. But off the court, he's a nice guy. And there were a lot of reports from the Lakers that Westbrook was very happy if he played well, even if they lost. Yep. And, he was bummed out if the Lakers had won and he didn't play well. He was kind of bummed out. So I'm shocked the Clippers brought him in. I really am. Bringing him into a winning environment like that. And they're 0-3. It's a small sample size, but I don't think it's a coincidence. But before we get out of here, we mentioned Jokic, minus 380 now to win the MVP. Are we basically betting Jokic, unless he gets injured, he's going to win this MVP? Is that where we're at with this thing?
Sadly, yes. As a guy that's been rooting for Embiid to finally get his, it's tough at this point. I mean,
I agree.
It's one of those things where I'll say this, and you guys can disagree. I think if the Nuggets weren't the 1 seed, there'd be a lot more conversation here. But the fact that they're going to get the 1 seed kind of just seals it up. Like if it was another situation where Jokic's team was still like a 6th seed or a 5th seed, but he's got these numbers, I think it'd be a little bit more of a conversation. But when you get both packages, it's really tough to look past it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean he's got 24 triple doubles and they're 24-0 in those games. They're it's right there for you. It's translating to wins. Is he the best player? No. There's a bunch of things that go into it, but in terms of most valuable, we're not giving it to the best player in the league. That's not.
It's a great point. It's
what I mean.
100% true.
I was going to say,
best season, and so other players may have more points, and that's the thing. Is like Jokic, if he wanted to score 40 a night, he probably could. But I don't know if that makes. You look at guys like Gordon, best season of his career. Porter Jr., best season of his career. You know what I mean? Like Murray is almost back to pre-injury form right now. It's just elevating everybody around him.
And look at the team he had last year. Bringing that team, you can say, oh, they were only a 5 or a 6 seed. That team he took to a 5 or a 6. I think they were a 6 seed. That team was it was like a G League team. That if you take Jokic off that team, that was like a 10-win team. So to elevate that team to the playoffs and to use losing in the playoffs against them, I think was disingenuous and just wrong. Look, he's a great player. Like you said, Matt, he's not. Is he the best player in the league? No, he's probably not. I'd probably have Giannis. I don't know that I'd go Embiid. And for all the people that think, oh, Jokic has to do in the playoffs. Embiid hasn't done anything in the playoffs either. He hasn't been out of the second round. He's always hurt. So,
well, yeah, Jokic is. If you count the bubble, which we have to count the bubble, it is in the books. Jokic has had more playoff success. He's been farther into the playoffs than Embiid has.
Yeah, it's gonna say is Joel Embiid. Like the way I was telling my friend the other day is he's sadly gonna have a career like Dwayne Wade. Where it's like he was like that good, and it's like there's Kobe, whenever it's like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like he's gonna be second all team, second this, and I think he's a top 3 player. I would put him probably third. Just like the one thing is I'm a big Jokic guy. I think it's ridiculous that you can't be a fan of both. Like I hate when
great point.
I hate when
tribalism.
Like NBA posts something like Embiid like 40 blah blah, and I'll share it, and someone's like Jokic blah blah, and I'm like, dude, no one fucking
mention him. Yeah, it's a good point.
Like, so my thing is that I think as good as Jokic is, I still put, if you're talking about dominance, like Embiid's probably like my most dominant player in the league, but that doesn't win MVPs all the time. Like, it's like I think it's one of those things where it talks about terminology, and if you're talking most valuable right now, I mean, it's hard to argue the guy that's number 1 in the league and all these stats plus the 1 seed.
Yep. I've never been a huge fan of the MVP because I think the award should be most excellent player, and because in all sports, MVP is so subjective. What do you put value on? Football is kind of easy. It's almost always a quarterback. It has to be a quarterback. They're touching the ball every play, but like baseball, the Ohtani and Judge debate. Judge had the best season last year, but every single MLB team would take Shohei Ohtani over Aaron Judge, including the Yankees. You know what I mean? Value is such a subjective term. But like in terms of the most outstanding player this season, like that, they just changed the word of it. I think it would help a lot of people get over some of those mental hurdles because I mean, like how does Patrick Mahomes not win an MVP every year for the next until he retires, until he turns 34 or 5 when his athleticism slows down. People, same thing with LeBron. LeBron should have 12, 13 MVPs by now, but that'll just never happen. But
LeBron, there were a lot of years where LeBron would take time off and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I think there was the year Rose won, LeBron definitely should have won. The media was mad at LeBron for the way he handled the decision and all that, but
sure. Yeah. Well, I'm just talking the economic impact of having LeBron James on your team.
Oh yeah, well that's. I wouldn't want the award
the value of your franchise by $2 billion. Like it's crazy. Like what he did for the Cleveland economy, like the bars, the restaurants. Like I mean, it's insane.
Cleveland's a great place,
It just brings the electricity, and I mean. The Lakers were a dumpster fire with a bunch of young players and trying to figure it out. LeBron gets there, boom, right into the championship. Like the Heat, same kind of thing. Dwayne Wade, great player, like Brian was saying. Boom, LeBron goes in there, boom, right into the title picture. Like it's just maybe season by season he might not have had the people outscored him or did something like that, but like in terms of value, I look at it as like a all-encompassing picture, but most people don't want to have that. They want to talk about like stats this season. And
I'll end the discussion here, then we can get out of here. But what I was gonna say was just one sentence, and that's it. Is I think it's just difficult is that we have 2 big men that are doing something that's like never happened, like Jokic with his play, and Embiid being a center that's averaging say 34 points a game. They're just both so different, and it's never been done, and it's a shame it's happening in the same timeline. Because it makes it a lot harder. It makes a lot more animosity where you can't just enjoy their games, and it makes it like this big, like pissing contest where you can't just enjoy and say, "Wow, we have 2 of the most fun, like interesting, dominant, whatever you want to call players. Why can't we just enjoy them and leave it at that?"
And I get the sense just from being on Twitter, which can be an angry place and with a lot of ill-informed people. You get the sense with Jokic and Embiid, there's a lot more factors at play than just the basketball. But just to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But,
like you said, I mean, people are. I think Embiid. There's issues with people don't like the tanking process. Like there's that resentment towards the Sixers organization for the whole process.
Yeah, I don't know
And
that I don't know that that's there anymore. I actually don't think they went far enough for it. I just think the fact that Jokic is European, I think there's a little bit part of that where.
Well, I mean, Embiid is African, and I think like that they're both foreign guys. Like,
I know.
The best, and I mean, who's the best American player? It's still LeBron, probably, right? Like,
I'd go Durant.
Yeah, Durant's probably better. Yeah,
I'll say this: it sucks that Embiid gets as much hate as he does because, objectively speaking, he's hilarious. Like, he's such a funny dude.
He's funny.
Like, he's like such a good whatever, but he's just objectively hilarious. Where I think it sucks to get so much hate for a guy that's just like such a good dude.
I don't know that he gets a ton of hate. I think he brings a little bit on himself where he starts whining that the world's out to get him because he finished second MVP. It's like, you know what? You had a great year.
Flopping,
you're saying.
Yeah, go ahead. The flopping gets me. I think that's the most frustrating thing with. And I get it because like he gets fouled almost every play, and it's like you're not going to get those calls. You already shoot 15 free throws a game. Like, how many more can we give you? But like he does get fouled, and like all you have to do is look at Jokic. I mean, the arms, like he's bleeding every like. Get this guy some sleeves, man. To protect
Jokic said it was from his wrestling with his brothers. That was what he said in the interview, that he got those scars. Dude, that's a red flag. If my MVP's out there getting scarred by wrestling with his brothers, I'm like, yo, dude, like focus on the game here. We got.
I think if they would have been born 20 years earlier, I think they'd get more flowers. We're in a perimeter-oriented NBA at this point. We loved dominant center play in the 90s and early 2000s. The kind of Shaq and Hakeem and even Dwight Howard when he was kind of coming in. That era, like you just loved, watching centers, and their usage was huge. And now it's just a different, like you said, different era. But yeah, it's fun to watch. And I think trying to discredit one or the other is silly.
No doubt. Yeah. All right. On that note, we'll get out of here. Matt Matkafee, BrianVsTheBooks. Guys, thank you for sticking with us throughout the technical difficulties. The audience, we appreciate you guys. Boom Fantasy, Picket Sports. Check them out. Go Boys. We'll be back over the weekend with some shows. Tuesday and Thursday, our regular NBA show. So until then, good luck with all your plays.